Up next, Mona and Rachelle will share how their ice cream shop isn't just about treats. It's about opportunity, empowerment, and community in motion.
We love telling the stories of Grant County, but we can't do it without you. Become a member of We Are Grant County today and help us keep celebrating community, one voice at a time. Welcome to We Are Grant County. I'm your co-host, Katie Jimenez, and I wanted to start our episode with a quick introduction of our guests, Mona Lazarus and her daughter, Rachelle Lazarus Morse. Now, some of our lovely local listeners may not be familiar with our guests by name, but possibly you may recognize their cute ice cream shop, the Kentucky Y All Icebox on Main Street in Williamstown. The Kentucky Y All Icebox is where I first met Rachelle and her mother, Mona, and learned about their organization, Dream Grant County. After meeting them and learning more about their organization, all while sampling many delicious flavors of ice cream, Michelle and I have really wanted them on the pod to share their sweet story. So today we explore how Dream Grant County came to be and what lies ahead, as well as how the Kentucky Y All Icebox is changing lives, one scoop at a time. So again, welcome, Mona and Rachelle. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Because like we were talking a few minutes ago, shine a spotlight on Grant County. I want to, let everybody know kind of the good things that are going on. So,
and this is one
much.
of the best.
So what exactly is Dream Grant County?
Well, Dream Grant County is my dream that actually, I guess, started probably 15 years ago. I am a retired special education teacher, finished my career at the high school, Grant County High School, and just got really tired of seeing our kids complete high school there with nothing to do afterwards. Especially the ones with the more significant disabilities. And, there are a few little programs here and there. There's some assistance and some help that they can get with a few things. But generally, we're talking somebody would have to be really determined and family have to be really determined to be able to get a hold of those benefits and to follow through and to do anything. There's some great programs in the north and some great programs in the south of Grant County, but very little right here. And so I just thought we can change that. We can do something different. Our folks that were graduating were just like any other young people. They wanted to be airplane pilots and truck drivers and ballerinas and, just, whatever. But they wanted that opportunity to do something meaningful and they felt that they could. And there just wasn't those opportunities here for them.
I love that you've recognized an issue and started to do something about it and take that initiative, because not everybody would do that. So thank you so much for that. So what kind of opportunities, because right now today we're at the Kentucky Y All Icebox. So what exactly is happening here that is kind of I guess maybe a precursor to Dream Grant County?
Well, right now we're small. We're in a small building. We have a small business, and so we're able to just hire a few people at this point to work in this business. I'm finding, particularly our folks with the more significant disabilities, can't do some of the basic things that we would like. They can't run the register, and some of them we wouldn't have scoop the ice cream and things like that. So even though I have them here and I can find some things for them to do, I'm kind of having to invent things, as we go. I have some of our folks that are maybe more interested in art, and so we're doing some little arts and crafts things, and some of them, the cleaning part, they really resonate with that and they're able to help with that. And so, so the idea is, that, eventually, when I have my big dream, that I would be able to design jobs for people. I always said if I had that one person, all they could do is just clap and wave. I wanted to be able to design a job for them. So when I get a little frustrated sometimes here because I can't seem to find something for them to do, I just keep reminding myself, be creative, be patient, and look for that one thing that might be the key for them.
If I can interject, this has been my mom's vision for a long time. And she had applied for grants for years, and she was looking for some help so that she could build this facility that we know that can serve this community so much, so thoroughly. And every time that she would apply for a grant, her response, if she got one at all, was, well, you don't have a physical location, so we're not just going to throw money at your concept. And she would always get so upset, like, people are not just concepts, this is a real thing. And so her and I both had our own sort of setbacks. For her, it was the lack of a place. And I knew that I wanted to contribute to the revitalization of our downtown here in Williamstown that's kind of just now waking up after many years of nothing. And trying to shift people's ideas about where to go, where to spend their money, where to spend their time. And it only seemed like a natural sort of step over, like, who is our workforce and where do they come from and what are their needs and what are their limitations and how many of them are there, and so there are so many people that are so capable. And, a big part of having people work here is that I have to be flexible to make accommodations or modifications. And it's really about patience. People can do so much more than we give them time to accomplish because we're like, oh, well, you just kind of need to have it done quickly, and that's my idea of getting the job done. But for me, and my mom is great at reminding me, let's slow down, give them an opportunity. You don't have to control things, So it's wonderful. She is that type of personality who says, we don't have to have it done a certain way. We're going to let this person do the best that they can do. And so I appreciate that about her so much. And anyway, her and I both realized after some time and overcoming some things that we were very much meant to do our visions together, that the dream and the Kentucky Icebox were supposed to work cooperatively for everyone's betterment. And it was cool because once she had this physical location, the ice cream shop is hosting Dream Grant County. So then she became eligible for the grants and things like that. And indeed, she's been diligent at applying for things. And so we were able to purchase a van. Why don't you tell them about that, Grandma?
Lead in there. She got you. She's ready. We should hire her to help us transition.
So one of the big issues for our folks that want to work is transportation. A lot of them, maybe live far out, or their families may not be able to help them with their schedules or whatever. So I felt like if we had some transportation where we could pick them up or take them home, that could solve, a lot of that. So, so I applied for the Interact for Health grant. It's like the rural change makers. And, and this, from my understanding, this is a pretty easy grant to apply for compared to others. And if that was easy, I don't know. Just a lot of background information that we had to put into it, and a lot of things we had to look up, and certain things we had to project and figure out. But anyway, so part of the grant was to purchase the van, and then the other part of the grant is to help like with marketing, social media, and all of that. And so we got that. It's just amazing. I'm loving it. I have a couple of people that I pick up on a regular basis, and even a couple of our volunteers that I use the van to go and pick them up because they wouldn't have a way to get here if we didn't. So, I just, I feel like it's been a real blessing. Also, I'm traveling advertisement because I've got it written on the side. And so I'm driving down the road. I'm like, ooh, I'm driving the dream,
Yeah. But I love that, again, initiative to recognize that for anybody to help out and work, they needed to get here and to be diligent enough to go through all the trials that filling out that grant information would need. And you followed through. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think that's awesome.
Considering this is such a rural community outside transportation, we don't necessarily think about that in larger cities because, there's public transit and things like that. But for those around here, unless you live downtown, getting somewhere can be very difficult without steady transportation.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've mentioned Dream Grant County a few different times, but I don't think we've defined it yet. So what does DREAM stand for?
Okay. So DREAM stands for differences, reframed, empowered, accepted, and mobilized. And I'm not exactly sure how I came up with that. It was probably one of the things I was thinking about in the middle of the night sometime. I don't know.
When all great inspiration comes when you're supposed to be sleeping.
Yep.
But I felt like, okay, so differences reframed. I felt like we needed to think differently about our folks with special needs because you can, look at someone or prejudge someone and think they can't do much. They don't have, much potential. They're, whatever. But if you step back, reframe that and zero in on the parts that are just their specialty, their thing, it makes a big difference. So we're, reframing, we're empowering by giving them opportunities to show off what they can do and to be a part of the community and to see a bigger picture for themselves. Accepted. The A is for accepted. And so not only am I talking about us accepting them, but about them accepting themselves, accepting where they are in their lives, deciding, is this where I want to stay? Do I want to do something different? Do I want to set goals for myself? And then the last one, the M, is for mobilized. And that is, we got a van. We're mobilized. We can, work in here. We can do things. We can do mobile events. We can be out in the community. We can be in our new building that we will build one day, but we're not stuck. And so that's what DREAM stands for.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So, like I said, we're at the Kentucky Y All Icebox. And you kind of touched on it before, but who works here? And like what roles do they have and things like that? And what kind of, like you've already mentioned, like getting them to work and things like that, but what kind of support are they getting here to get started?
So, we don't have a lot of employees, but we have them ranging from needing hand over hand instruction with everything to, being independent and can scoop ice cream and run the register, and so, our folks that need that hand over hand instruction, generally I have them here on Mondays because we're the only thing that's open on Main Street on Mondays, or at least in the latter part of the day. So by us we have less customers on that day, and then we can give more individual attention. I have a volunteer who faithfully comes in on Monday to help, with all of those things. And those are things we're learning. Sometimes we make things like yesterday, we made those bags of popcorn over there and we put, little pieces of chocolate and pretzels and, things like that in it. But it was a thing. It was a big, process, assembly line kind of thing.
Sounds like the snack I need after this podcast.
Yes.
I'm waiting for my scoop of ice cream. I checked out the flavors before we started. I scoped it out.
It's everything I can do to not eat ice cream every day of my life. It's so hard.
So anyway, those folks, which it's a constant learning for us, what they can do and then, trying to scope some things out that would, be good for them. I have one young man that if you look at him, you would think, would be capable of doing a lot of different things. He, a lot of difficulty with most things. If I give him the artistic kind of arts and crafts things to do, he flourishes. And so that's kind of, where I've been, focusing with him. And then we have our higher functioning, folks that, you can pretty much, walk in the other room and let them take care of things. But, if something a little bit different happens, a little bit different in the schedule or something that just they didn't expect, they really need our support. So it's, it's kind of a wide range. So as far as the employees that we have, it's me and Rachelle and I guess just one other, young lady who doesn't have disabilities, but she, one of her family members has significant disabilities. And so she's very, sensitive, about everything. And that's all.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's nice to have a small, group. But I think that the main thing that we, hope for in moving forward is more of those volunteers or more support. There's lots of different ways to support us. But I noticed that when we put the signs up, my mom put a couple around that say, things like growing skills, we're building a dream. Thank you for your understanding and the support of our team. When people read things like that, they kind of start to understand that we have a different model here. Okay, it's not just an ice cream shop, but you guys are doing other things too. And that's when I really see the generosity and people just open their hearts. There's so much. And nearly everybody is touched by this vision, by our mission to provide employment to citizens with disabilities and meaningful, happy employment, because nearly every family is impacted, by in some way or another. Everybody knows somebody with disabilities. We all love someone who has a varying ability level. We all have a very varying ability levels, but anyway, I think that when we have a lot of ARC tourism here at the shop, and so sometimes we have a line of people out the door, and they might get a little huffy, and it might be a little hot, and they're kind of waiting, and then they start to understand what we're doing here, and the patience and the love, and not everybody is affected, or does that resonate with, and that's okay too. And so we're all just kind of trying our patience and pushing it and growing it. And so that's okay too.
Well, I think that's an opportunity for those individuals who don't have that everyday experience to truly understand a little bit better, especially they can see some of the difficulties that
That's
your
right.
employees face. And, but I also wanted, before we moved on, I wanted us to discuss kind of the layout of your shop, because it's not just a storefront, grab a scoop of ice cream. you guys have really developed the decor and the other options and items to purchase. Can you guys talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yes.
Give that a visual idea for our, our listeners.
Good idea.
I'll give
Yes.
that one to Rachelle because this is
that's her
vision.
yeah.
It is. Yes. Yes.
And it's a great little, it's hard to,
Thank you.
really get that across. But I think it's a great little store, and
Thank you so much. I'm inspired by anything old and beautiful, and there's so much strength that comes from the stories of the people who came before us, our family members, our ancestors, the people who built the town, the people who stood for things that were unpopular, and it turns out we're becoming some of them. It's wonderful. But the shop, when you walk in, it feels like stepping back in time. And I make sure that everybody has an experience when they walk through the door. So, you walk in and you're blasted with the fan, which feels great, but then you smell all the yummy smells. You hear the record player, playing the old vinyls from the 40s. And I've got beautiful plants and antiques all, intermittently woven together throughout the store. And most things have a story. It's some part of our Grant County history or just history as human beings.
From our own houses.
Yes. A lot of the things that are in my shop come from either my great aunt, who was married to the mayor, my great uncle, in the 60s. His name was J.B. Miller, and he was the town hero. He had the streets paved and cheap electricity brought to Williamstown, had the lake built, and our I-75 ramp, put on so that Williamstown didn't dry up and shrivel away into nothing. So I've got his fishing rod and his, apothecary jars and his scale from weighing medicine at the old drugstore. So it's some little nods to him and that side of the family. But there's a lot of stuff that I don't know exactly where it came from besides the house that I purchased a couple years ago. And when I bought my home from the precious elderly lady who lived there at the time, she was quite a collector, much like myself, and had a very full life. And so we, kind of salute her and all the strong people who made this community what it is. And so when you come in, everything in the shop is Kentucky made. Everything. There's lots of candies and other confections. We have little caramels that have been made by the same family for 135 years in Lawrenceburg. So I love the idea of traditionally made candies and vintage delights and edible souvenirs, I like to call them.
That's a great example. Yeah. Like when you look around, it's stuff from Kentucky. So it's pretty exciting.
Including the ice cream. So I like to tell people, you're not eating corporate ice cream. This is Kentucky made ice cream. So that's why it tastes so good, So yeah, this is a special place. I wanted to drive home to people. We've talked about the source. Where does our workforce come from? Where does our food come from? That's a daily question, and us being mindful of that is really important. I thought, if it's not made in Kentucky, we probably don't need it.
We love telling the stories of Grant County, but we can't do it without you. Become a member of We Are Grant County today and help us keep celebrating community, one voice at a time. Learn more and sign up here at wearegrantcounty.com.
So let's kind of circle back just a minute. We talked about like Dream Grant County and how this location has helped you get, grants and, opens up opportunities for more funding and things like that. What is the vision? Because you've mentioned also, eventually having another location. What would take place at that location? What is the vision for that location?
Ooh. This is my favorite topic.
Yes, we love this.
And we're done now. Led right into Mona. There we go.
So what I envision is a big employment complex, and where I'm able to employ people with a varying range of abilities. I want it to be close to the interstate, close to the arc. I don't want it to be where you drive 10 miles down some windy, curvy road and people might come because they feel sorry for you. I want it to be out there and easily accessible. I want a fabulous building. I did some polling way back when I first got the dream, to find out what we needed in Grant County. What would people like to see here? Overwhelmingly, people said they wanted more forms of recreation in Grant County. And then, secondary was, they were really interested in like farmers market kinds of things or locally made, foods, kind of like we're talking about here. So that began the picture, of what I wanted. Decided on, we would love to have a fabulous indoor mini golf attraction. Beautifully done, not cheaply done or anything, but with great
backgrounds and beautiful sets.
Yes, all of that. Behind that, I want to have an art studio, and that would be for those folks who maybe are not all that comfortable interacting with customers, but still want that dignity of labor. They want that opportunity to create things, to draw a paycheck, to be integrated, into society, so they could color things, paint things, package things, frame them, make them, and then sell them over here in our little country store, which would be very similar to this with locally made crafts, and then locally, made foods and jams and jellies and, those kinds of things. Behind that, I want to have a commercial bakery, where we make all kinds of goodies. And then right in between the mini golf and the country store, I'd like to have a snack bar area where we have the wonderful ice cream and the sweet treats. And then all along the front of this building would be a community room with retractable walls where we could have contests and tournaments and birthday parties, or maybe rent out the whole thing, the whole venue, which I believe would help with the sustainability of the whole thing. I'd love to have a grandparently layer of support from our veterans and our senior citizens, for those folks who want to come there and want to be a part of things, but they would really benefit maybe from someone shadowing them or just, checking in with them. I'd love for it to be a place where people just came in every day and got their coffee or their ice cream or whatever, and just kind of, checked on people and see how we're doing. I'd like to develop that healing kind of atmosphere that, we're coming here. We all have needs. We all have differences, and we're coming here to just kind of be a whole together to help each other. I love the indoor mini golf. I chose that because it wouldn't be a weather related, kind of recreational thing. It's something we could do all the time. It would be, I would say, pretty simple jobs. Cleaning, organizing, customer service, those kinds of things. So, anyway, I'm describing something beautiful and wonderful, and I believe in it. I mean, I think we could. If, like I said, that one person that could clap and wave, I could just see them sitting at the doorway of the mini golf, and people are getting ready to pay, and they hit a button, and it says, Shazam, you just won a free game, or whatever, I mean, why not? And so anyway, that's what I'm looking at.
what I think is exciting is the way that she's envisioned everyone working together. And if you listen to this dream, it's going to require people of all ability levels to make this happen. So that's going to generate a lot of jobs in Grant County, where, you know, we're a small community that doesn't have a lot of job opportunities for anyone. It's an exciting idea to think about having something that's accessible, you know, where many people have accessibility issues and it's visible, you know, and anyway, it's entirely possible. So pretty much every dollar that's spent here at the ice cream shop, you know, goes to supporting her continued operation. But then, you know, our tip jar, all of that goes towards either paying our employees or just going towards the building, the eventual building of this complex. And on the note of fundraising, one of the most exciting things that we have done is my mother and I have always loved the art of storytelling, and seeing as how it's the oldest art form in the world, so that people were telling stories around campfires, you know, and that's, you know, happening way before anything else. You know, we realize what a beautiful art form and a celebration of human history that it is. Her and I often go to big storytelling festivals. There's one that's in Cave Run Lake every year in Moorhead, Kentucky, and it's just so inspiring. And so one of the initiatives is that she has developed, this will be our second annual storytelling festival happening this October. Saturday, October the 18th, 2025, to be exact. And so what we're hoping is that as the town grows and as we bring more people to this area for all different reasons, that we can gain some momentum and some energy around this storytelling festival. It features several different nationally known storytellers who travel around doing this for a living. And you think, oh, there's no way I can just sit here captive in this chair for an hour and listen to this person talk. And then you're captivated and, you know, mesmerized and stuck and like, wow, this is great. Don't we have more hours to listen? So there are multiple people, 3 speakers this year, but we've also partnered with Stage Right Theater. And we are so excited about that partnership, about bringing up young people in the arts and knowing about storytelling and not having misconceptions about storytelling, like that it's a book reading or some other strange, not as exciting thing. So we're hoping that every year that our festival grows and that we continue to save money for this amazing building that we're wanting to construct.
So with you bringing that up, because that was going to be my next point, so thank you. How can people learn more about that or get tickets for it, or how does that all work?
So, on our website, which is dreamgrantco.org, it will have all the information about the Storytelling Festival. It will have a link to our Eventbrite link where you can purchase tickets. So that website tells you all about Dream and what we're doing, and a lot of details about the festival. It talks about each of the speakers that are going to be there, and it's just, anyway, you get a lot of information from there.
And we'll definitely include that link in the
Perfect
pod notes.
Yes. Yeah. Another way that people can buy tickets is just by walking into the shop, and we're selling them physical tickets right here.
Yeah. Yeah. So. It's not. And another thing I want to say about that, I remember going through this last year. It's like nobody bought tickets in advance, maybe 1 or 2, and that was it. And then we sold, a lot more tickets the day of the event. And it's a little aggravating. I thought, I'm kind of like that. I don't want to buy things in advance because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, or, I don't want to make a commitment, but we really do need people to make a commitment and consider that even if you can't come, if it ends up you can't come, that it's okay that you made that donation. It's not a big price. It's $20 for all day. It's $12 for individual sessions. So there's the morning session, the afternoon session, and then the grand finale in the evening. Then that's when Stage Right Theater will be performing as well. And, $12 for individual, $20 for all day. It would really help us if people would go ahead and purchase tickets in advance. It'll help us with the other things that we need to do, to get ready and just for planning purposes and everything. So
also, I should mention, we haven't said where it's at this year. We're doing it at the Performing Arts Center at the Williamstown Independent School. And that is such a nice facility that they built just a couple years ago. But that kind of brings us back to the idea of, bringing it in for the kids. When we go to these festivals, we see plenty of people in their 60s and 70s and 80s. And we see some of the young kids, but we really are not seeing the people in their 20s and 30s and 40s. Or 50s, so there's a big gap. And what we tell people, is that if you can't come, send a young person, buy a ticket for them. We're also fine with the donation, but we really want our younger generations to kind of understand the excitement of this. It's acting, it's speaking, it's all of the things that will serve them, later in life, whether or not they're into the arts, but, it's so enriching and it's such a wholesome family event. It's just so wonderful. So
we have, I believe 2 out of our 3 national young tellers plays music. I know one of them whistles. One of the men was born with a physical disability himself, and then he had a real severe accident, so he has a lot of challenges there physically. One of the ladies has been helping us with all the organization and, doing things. And she just has such a heart for what we're doing. And so it's, this is going to be fabulous. It's going to be right here in Grant County. This is something that you would pay a lot of money to go to someplace else, into this quality of storytelling. And we even kind of hesitate using the term storytelling because, as Rachelle said, the misconceptions that people have, okay, this is a thing for kids, whatever. Because it is a story arts. These are story artists, this is, something that is, it will transform you from this place to another place. It's unbelievable. The rich language and as she was saying, the acting, the performing, those pauses that just get you, those gut punches, it is just amazing. And, we need that. Our young folks in particular don't have that I can look you in the eye and talk to you kind of skill anymore, or listen to you. They might look you in the eye, but they're everywhere else with the headphones on and then whatever, And so, we've about lost it, and we need to really work on getting that back because, it makes a huge difference in relationships and job skills and job interviews. The people that we've interviewed sometimes for jobs here was like, oh my gosh, they won't look at you. They're stuttering it, anyway, just to be able to build some confidence and to enjoy that rich part of our culture. And it's going to be right here and we can't miss it. You can't miss it. You got to be here.
For me, I'm in that 50-ish category. We'll leave it there. I didn't really understand what the performances and all were going to be. Now I have like this visual, and it sounds really interesting.
It is.
It's not something that I would normally have attended. So we'll have to.
Yes.
We'll have to see But I wanted to ask, because you mentioned like even if somebody bought a ticket and couldn't come, it's a good donation. Is there another way that people can donate?
Yes. So if you go on the website, we've got like the QR code, and that all hooks up with the bank account and the whole thing that way. We have people who come in here and bring us checks or bring us $100 bills or bring us, $20 bills. I have learned, and it's probably everybody should tell me, don't say this if you're, but I have learned that it's really not about money or finances or resources. It's about just, bringing this dream. Okay. I get teary. Sorry. It's about bringing this dream before God and say, you do with it what you will. And because I'm sure his plan's got to be better than mine. I've got a great plan. Just imagine what his plan is.
I mean, your plan, I've visualized it all. I've visualized every part of it. Yeah. So, I mean, you're doing an excellent job. Both of you are. So what is one thing, like, cause my notes say like, what do you see initiatives in the future? I would just like to know, like, what is one wish you have for maybe like from this point to maybe the end of the year? Like, what is one thing that you wish could happen or take place?
A land donation close to the Ark. 1 acre is all it takes. No. I won't speak for you, but I would just say the amount of support, like we're often looking for people to help us work. If my mom is not running the shop, it is me running the shop. And I have 3 small kids, and this shop was totally like baby number 4. So, there is just a lot. There's a lot to do. And if it's not us doing it, it doesn't get done.
Right.
And lots of people say, oh, well, I'm really good at this. Maybe I could help you with your that. And unfortunately, we have found that if we don't pay people, they don't come. They don't show up. There are a couple of very special volunteers that she mentioned, but these are people we've known way before.
Yeah.
And there's sort of this, friendship level. I've been looking for a Saturday manager for this place for months. And so, but I've realized, like she said, it just has to be the right fit. It's got to be the right personality. We want people here who understand the joy of what we're doing and the dignity of labor. And, but somebody who just has, not just tolerance for what we're doing, but a passion for it. And that's been very, very difficult to find. So that is the main thing is I just pray like, Lord, send us some help. So, but right now we are so blessed with our employees and, some of our citizens who work with us that are able to do everything from scooping to the register. I just think, where would we be without them? Like we truly have created this very, symbiotic sort of, relationship. And, I feel so special to have built that trust and that respect. So, anyway, that is my personal thing is if somebody feels drawn to our cause, like, please come talk to me. There's lots of things to be done and little things that I could delegate. Like, hey, could you make a social media post for me every Saturday? I don't have time to do it. I hardly have time to shower.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, just getting those little bits of commitment. And I think that is the thing is getting people to make commitments. It can be like pulling teeth, but when you plead and you say, revitalize this downtown or die. We have very few choices. We either go up or we're stagnant. Let's just go up, So I think that people will come around to understanding. There's plenty of people who are understanding that and supporting that. So I think just awareness, like understanding there's so much more to be done.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, just making that kind of information known makes a big difference, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Not just the travelers that come in for their ice cream, but like you said, the community and your locals. And I remember getting a local discount. We'll have to talk about it.
Yes, that's right. And I do. And that is part of it. I'm glad you brought that up because I like to kind of give that incentive to people. Like, please, I want them to feel appreciated. And back there, behind the register, I have our appreciation board. And that really touches people's heart. I've got Military Monday, Teacher Tuesday, WellCare Wednesday, Grant County Local Thursday, and First Responder Friday. And if anybody ever mentions, I don't care what day it is, I'm like, yes, military, yes. Yeah, WellCare people, school workers, oh my gosh, thank you. So anyway, we kind of want them to understand that we don't have a business without the local support. And it's great to have the tourists. It's wonderful, but we cannot do this without locals.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I wanted to answer that question too, is what she's saying about needing people. And I think for myself, for my nonprofit, between now and the end of the year, I really need to establish a board. We have like the basics that we need so that we're legal and we, and all of that, which is basically my sister, my husband and I, so anyway, but I really need to establish a working board, people who are willing to, meet, at least once a month, maybe a couple times a month, certain, times of the year and, kind of help problem solve and things that I can delegate to them and things, where we can report back. And because right now, it's pretty much me, on all of that. And, I'll write a list of to-do things with 35 things on it. And by the time I go down them and cross them off and whatever, and then I've written all my notes beside them, I've got 35 more things, that I, cause there's never just part A to something. It's part A, part B, part C, and, follow up, and so, to have someone willing to commit to helping us with all those behind the scene things would be amazing. I've talked to a couple of people, who are kind of excited about helping in that way. But realistically, I need more. So,
yeah. And that's one of the things we hope to accomplish by highlighting your purpose. And because this is such a meaningful, dream that you have, being able to find those who would be committed. There's others that this is such an impact, it's such an impactful part of their lives, whether, like you said, everybody knows somebody. Yes. And so finding that, I think, like you said, Rachelle, finding that perfect fit. And right. the more the community knows and the more we talk about it, the more your ears you're going to reach. And that one ear is going to prick and go,
that's exactly right.
This sounds like me. This, like me. And, yes. And your spiritual connection, there's going to be, somebody's going to hear that, right? And that's hear right. that call. And yes. that's, I truly
thank you for helping us do that.
Yes. We're excited and it's, yeah.
I mean, that was the whole reason behind creating this podcast in the first place, was to find those little nuggets within Grant County and share them with potentially the world, but share them with anybody who's willing to listen and give it a shot. So
I remember the very first community meeting that I had, to just kind of gauge interest and see what was going on. And I made a big poster that said, Grant County people love their citizens with special needs. And, nobody argued with me about that. And, maybe people do things a different way than we would do, but I know Grant County people are good people. They're loving and they want to help. It's a matter of, people having very specific instruction on how they can help a lot of it. Because a lot of us are willing, but then we're like, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Well,
But
I was going to say, maybe we're not attuned to the needs of that community, right? And sometimes well-being outsiders, right, think that maybe, this might help. But if we don't have that true understanding of that community's needs, we may not be helping as much, right, as we would like. And so I think that's a really being involved and truly understanding that community is key. And I think you guys have kind of tuned into that.
Yes. We had a young lady in here last week, and she loves to sing. And so whenever anybody comes in, of course, she brings a fan club with her when she comes. They all want to see her working and everything. But when she comes and she sees somebody that she knows, and she'll take that and sing. And so she just brings this happiness, like, I didn't expect this. I knew this was going to be fun, but there was just, like another level of happiness to it. But, one gentleman came in, who they used to go to church with, and he had, and she knew that, that he sings, and she, grabs and sing. And so after talking a little bit, he started singing Amazing Grace. This whole place broke out in Amazing Grace. Everybody singing, and the little girl with her little screechy voice, and her, but she knew the words, and everybody. And after this was over, almost everybody said, "Oh, I wish I would have recorded that." But I believe that's probably one of those things that you would never be able to capture the essence of that moment. And that's what I love about here. At any time, prayer can break out. And I've seen it over and over and over again, or singing, or dancing, or just rejoicing. And we don't see much negative. We don't see much downside. People are happy when they're coming to get ice cream. That's true.
It's hard not to be happy when you're getting ice cream. unless
I know
you're
it makes me happy.
Yeah. Unless you're dropping it. I'm sure we can fix that, right?
But overall, I always say there's never a coincidence that walks through that door. And the people that come in here are coming either to be a blessing to us, for them to be a blessing to them, or for us to bless each other, which mostly is how that works. And this is a happy, healing place right here. And that's what I hope for my whole dream. So,
well, thank you both, Mona and Rachelle.
Thank you so much.
We have learned, I've come in here for ice cream. I've enjoyed the environment, but I've learned so much more, and I understand and appreciate it so much. So just thank you very much again for letting us come in here, sit down, and listen to the stories
And
what your future plans are.
And just having a conversation about, everything about this is fantastic.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure to share.
It has.
It's nice to share the dream.
Thank you for being interested. I spew my dream out onto many people.
And now it's in a more organized structure,
yes.
easily to distribute to the public.
It will live on forever.
Yes, that's right. I'm never 100% sure if people want to hear the story or not, but I knew you guys wanted to hear it. That made it better.
And hopefully our listeners will too.
Yes.
I think that's a positive.
But thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
And that wraps up today's conversation with Mona and Rachelle from Dream Grant County and the Kentucky Y All Icebox. Their work reminds us that small initiatives can spark big change. One job, one scoop, one life at a time. If you'd like to support what We Are Grant County is doing, you can become a member. Memberships help us continue to share the voices, stories, and spirit of our hometown. Just visit wearegrantcounty.com to learn more. Thank you for listening to We Are Grant County, a Toad Talk Media production. We are your hosts, Michelle and Katie, and remember, We Are Grant County celebrates community, one voice at a time.
ToadTalkMedia.com